lest we forget. Today is November 11th. In 1918, 100 years ago, the Great War ended. The 11th hour of the 11th month of the 11th day. World War I started July 28th, 1914, and it ended suddenly, today, 100 years ago. Of all the stories of World War I, this is one of the most tragic stories. This is a man named Sergeant Henry Gunther. Sergeant Henry Gunther was a German-American. There's a large German community in Baltimore. And he enlisted in the Army, the American Army, and he is the last soldier killed in the American Army. He was killed at 10:59 a.m., 1 minute before the armistice ended. World War I is called the Great War. My college kids get confused. They said, well, why did they call it World War I? Didn't they know about World War II? The answer is no. It was called the Great War. The United States was involved. Woodrow Wilson declared war April 2nd, 1917. Germans call this the Weltkrieg, the World War. Woodrow Wilson called it the war to end all wars, the war to make the world safe for democracy. We call it World War I. Americans lost 116,516 men killed in 200 days of combat. To give you some kind of a comparison, during World War II in the Pacific Theater fighting the Japanese, including battles such as Iwo Jima, Peleliu, Tarawa, Guadalcanal, we lost 110,000 men in about 4 years of fighting. In World War I, we lost about the same amount of men in 200 days of fighting. We lost about 54,000 men killed in Korea and about 58,000 men killed in Vietnam. Vietnam lasted 15 years. Korea was 3, 4, or 5 years long. We lost 116,000 men, about the same amount of men, in 200 days of combat, 100 years ago today. Of course, the United States, we joined the war late. In England, the British Empire lost almost 1 million men. The French lost 1.2 million men. Germany lost almost 2 million men killed in World War I that ended today. This is our statue. I'm proud to say that I live in Rhinebeck, and because many places around the United States, we don't remember World War I, the Great War. It's the forgotten war. Here in Rhinebeck, we have this statue of the doughboy soldier. Maybe we should drive by there this week and sort of stop and think about it a little bit. I love this statue because it shows the man's commitment, his idealism, his toughness. This statue it's a bronze statue, and it was sculpted by Alan Newman. And who is he? He lived over in Marbletown, New York. And there are 3 similar statues, one in Massachusetts and one over by Pittsburgh. This is our honor roll that we have here in St. Paul's, Wurtemberg. After church today, I want you to come up and examine this honor roll. And it says some very interesting things. It quotes President Woodrow Wilson, who in his declaration of war on April 2nd, 1917, said the world must be made safe for democracy. It's on our honor roll. And these are pictures of the men from our congregation that served in World War I. This hung in the back for years, and then it kind of got moved over, and it was kind of up in the attic, and we kind of forget about it. But it's important to look at it today. I have a memorial candle lit for this. These are some of the faces that are, I took pictures of this and blew it up. They're 100 years old now. This is the picture of Private Roy Cruces. He was a member of our congregation, the Cruces family, and he died July 7th, 1918. Now, Of the 116,000 men that died, roughly half of them died from various diseases. Again, when you take farm boys away from the rural community and put them together in camps, they die of diseases, especially the Spanish flu. In World War I, 11 million men were killed on the battlefield, but between 30 and 50 million people died of the Spanish flu epidemic. In October of 1918, 10,000 Americans died in a single month of the Spanish flu. Places like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Boston. He died of an infectious disease, and he's buried here at the Rhinebeck Cemetery. He served in the medical corps. This is the Meuse-Argonne Cemetery in France. This is the place where over 14,000 American soldiers are buried. The Meuse-Argonne offensive was fought in late September and October of 1918. In other words, right now, 100 years ago. American forces, there were 14 million men that were involved, and we mobilized the nation, and it was like a great crescendo. And more Americans died in October of 1918 than at any other time during the war. This Meuse-Argonne Cemetery, they had a great documentary on C-SPAN this last week, and you should go and watch everything you can about this, because it's the 100th anniversary of this. And the caretaker of the cemetery said that Americans never visit this place. These men are forgotten. Occasionally French children come and put flowers on the graves. But we've forgotten. This is a mother. They had a program in the 1930s where they raised money and they sent the mothers of the boys killed in the war to visit the graves of their sons. This woman lost her son, and here she is visiting his grave in 1931, the Meuse-Argonne Cemetery. This is a cenotaph. A cenotaph is a grave marker without a body. In England today, right now, it's called Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day in England, remember the British Empire lost almost 1 million men in World War I. They lost more men in World War I than they did in World War II. In England, the entire country comes to a grinding halt, and they have a solemn procession, military units, and they lay wreaths at this cenotaph every year. The whole country comes to a 2-minute moment of silence to remember the fallen in the Great War. Here's Remembrance Day in England. I want to play this famous poem, In Flanders Field.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
This is the poet John McCrae. He was a medical doctor who died in 1918. This is the Dumont ossuary, and it contains the bones of over 150,000 men who were killed at the Battle of Verdun. 330,000 men were killed. And this ossuary, my parents visited here. This ossuary has windows, and you can look in and see the bones of the men who fell at Verdun. and the bones are mixed. There are French soldiers, British soldiers, and German soldiers all together, because inside we're all humans.
Yeah.
Here's the ossuary. I'm going to close with a song, with a poem and a song. This is called For the Fallen by Lawrence Binion. And I want you to listen to this song and listen to this poem, For the Fallen.
For the Fallen by Lawrence Binion. With proud thanksgiving, a mother for her children, England mourns for her dead across the sea. Flesh of her flesh they were, spirit of her spirit, fallen in the cause of the free. Solemn the drums thrill, death august and royal sings sorrow up into immortal spheres. There is music in the midst of desolation, and a glory that shines upon our tears. They went with songs to battle, they were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. They mingle not with their loving comrades again. They sit no more at familiar tables at home. They have no lot in our labour of the daytime. They sleep beyond England's foam. But where our desires are and our hopes profound, felt as a wellspring that is hidden from sight, to the innermost heart of their own land they are known, as the stars are known to the night. As the stars that shall be bright when we are dust, moving in marches upon the heavenly plain, as the stars that are starry in the time of our dark,